I don't want to delay things any further because this next game is going to be so much fun. Aloe is going to be running some Beastieball for all ranked coaches. So let's bounce on in here and watch this game.
Hello. I am Hallow, they, them pronouns. I run Beastieball. That's pretty much what I run at the moment. I've been running this game since it released in early access, basically about a year ago now. I want to say it was the 11th last year of November, so pretty much a year. Either way, Beastieball, for those who aren't aware, is a creature collector game wherein the creatures play volleyball. Just to get that out of the way before we start the run, because I'm going to have a lot of stuff to explain very quickly. Lucky, if I could have the names for Kitchik and Spreko, and I will ask for the Pruffolks one later.
Sounds good. Kitchik is Pat the dog.
Pat the dog, sure.
Yeah.
Spaces, no spaces?
Spaces, so capital P and then spaces between the and dog.
Okay. Cel's got it, thank you. All right, Spreko is lettuce by the looks of it. Awesome.
Yep.
All right. I feel like we were trying to make a burger there and it didn't quite happen, but either way.
No, the last second it was no longer a burger, but we love Pat the dog, don't we?
Now we have lettuce and cheese on the dog. So I am all set to go. If we could start the timer in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so we are right into Beastieball, hopping right into this tutorial match and picking Kitchik. We will rename them shortly. But we're going to learn very quickly that there are moves in this game that go forwards and other moves that go sideways. We have a 2x2 tasks grid here. Unfortunately, we will not be clicking a sideways move because that would be slower, because we'd have to volley one more time. It's volleyball. There are 3 actions on each side of the field, and then 1 defensive action. And you have to send the ball over the net. If you wipe out a beastie, you get a point. If you hit an open lane, you get a point. Usually we will be wiping out beasties in this run, but there will be some instances of open lane. Early game is a lot of running places and gathering items and warp points, and trying to avoid encounters like that one, which I don't need to deal with. But if we do run into an encounter, we lose about 5 seconds just forfeiting real quick. And I fell into the water, which is not ideal. The visibility on this screen is not the best, but I'm trying to get a death warp here. There we go, just to unlock that campsite without crossing the bridge, so I save a little bit of time. Unfortunately, I lost all that time falling in the water twice, so oh well. But either way, here are the beetles. We're going to send them to space. I won't be explaining that one. But either way, first thing we have is we're going to be losing a lot during this run. The reason why is this is our rival Jack. Jack's experience, unlike many other fights in the game, the experience this fight offers does not diminish over time. It only diminishes based on, like, your level being higher than the opponent. So we're going to take full advantage of this and lose like 5 times in a row here so that Kitchik can metamorph into Ostracai. I also forgot to name them, so I'll do that in a moment. My muscle memory is too strong. But we're just going to get up to level 16 so that Kitchik can metamorph, and they'll get a full heal from that, and we'll be able to win this fight pretty easily after that point. Alright, nicknames. Kitchik is Pat the dog, and Spreko is lettuce. There we go. I remembered. Only a minute late. So, a few more losses to go here. Not particularly interesting gameplay at the moment. I'm just sort of hitting end defense over and over again and having to free ball on serve. When your beasties are wiped, I suppose I should explain, they can't do anything other than click free ball. Basically, like, just send the ball over the net for 1 damage and nothing else. which is a problem because obviously that's not going to help us get points. So goal of the game is to do that to the opposing beasties and not have that happen to ours. We have one more loss here before Kitchik metamorphs, and then again we'll recover from being wiped and be able to start dealing a lot more damage with a higher attacking stat, and so on. We've updated our moves a few times. Most of those are gonna stick around for just this fight on Kitchik. Sprecho's moves will remain pretty much the same throughout a lot of the run because I'll get to explaining shields later. But I suppose I can mention what Careful Shot does. Careful Shot is a sideways move, as I mentioned. It makes the opponent usually want to cover the lane. This fight, not so much. But usually if the AI sees an open lane, it will try and cover it. Again, in this fight, we are probably not going to see it try to cover it, but that means that things in the front lane actually take more damage. Okay, we see no block, which is fine. Little bit of a flowchart I have to follow here just to make sure I don't lose. Shielding Sprecho here to make sure it can't go down, and then we'll win with an attack from Ostasai. Or we should win with an attack from Ostasai, if I recall correctly. Yes, we're good. Okay. You deal more damage if you're in the front lane, but you also take more damage. If you're in the back lane, you have more defense. We're obviously going to be spending most of this run in the front lane. Anyway, we now have some items to get and some bounds to break. That is the easiest out of the bounds in the game. You literally just jump and hold right, and you get to skip having to open that gate. We're going to do another one here. See that gate up there? We are going to go around it by going around the bottom of the screen. And getting some more items which are up here. Otherwise, we'd have to do a little bit of overworld puzzling in order to get up here. But, you know, we're speedrunners. We don't care. We've picked up, overall, a whole bunch of objects on these past couple screens. Some of them are money, which we will use to improve our beastie's stats. One of the others is an exercise video, which will give Ostracai a level later in the game. Sniping that rail switch there with a ball so that we can open the gate and enter GeoCity, which is kind of meant to be a very mid-game area, but we're here excessively early because it means we're going to get to go through a lot of other areas of the game backward. Anyway, more sequence breaks. There's a required rival fight on this screen. Required, of course, being a strong word. But we're gonna avoid activating it until we get closer to that zip station up there so that we can get the warp point. Gonna lose once here for a bit of experience and then come back later. The reason for that is we're gonna be picking up an item in a couple minutes called the Athletic Spray, which will double all of our experience gain for an amount of time. But while we're in this fight, it makes sense to lose it, because obviously we do get a bunch of experience there. I don't know if I got extra experience somewhere. I feel like I'm not usually level 19 yet. Either way, some more items and warp points to grab, so we're just walking around a bit. Or, well, walking is a light way of putting how fast we're moving, but you know. A lot of just encounters to avoid as we progress up, backwards again to Begonia. And I'll see if I can get that trot out of the way and get through the screen transition without it hitting me. Very nice skip there. Only saves a couple seconds, but still, that's a couple seconds, which in a category this fast isn't nothing. Anyway, here's Begonia. As per usual, we are walking into a screen with a zip station on it and then immediately leaving again, because in most cases, once we're on the screen with the warp point is unlocked. There's that one zip station which we got earlier, which doesn't have that, and also any campsites, which we're going to see one of in a moment, that also require you to go a little bit closer to them. Such as this one, which is going to make us take about 2 steps upward before we unlock the warp point. But if you don't take those steps upward, you do not get the warp. Anyway, here's the Athletic Spray jumping on that fence up there, and we're going to be doing a lot of warping around the map already with that one singular warp point we got. Just saving a bit of walking, and now we're going to head through the Jasper Mines backwards so we don't have to deal with many of the puzzles. Ooh, didn't quite get that skip. If I interact with the rope fast enough there's a climbing rope here which you can toss down to get up later. Then the Guardian there will stop chasing you, but unfortunately I didn't manage it. Anyway, another exercise video over here. You'll note that takes our count up to 3. We're going to be getting 9 across the course of the run, because the more levels, the merrier. Anyway, here's Jasper, which is one of the places you might expect to see a casual player go first in this game. And we're going to head straight into our first ranked coach fight. In a moment, I need to actually talk to Kaz. And heading into the locker room. Except I lied, we're not having a ranked coach fight yet because Kaz wants people to actually watch and no one showed up. So we're going to head back to the rail house here and find the 3 most bored people in town, and by that I mean we're going to find 2 of them and then leave for 30 minutes. One of them is Caroline. We're going to lie to her by saying that we're not telling her to go watch a sports ball game, and then this is Ida, who we're just going to one-shot the beasties real quick. A common theme of this run will be getting places quickly to one-shot things. Anyway, the third board person is up on a roof over there, but we are not going to get them yet. We are instead going to head off to 1,000 Views, which is in theory like a very late game area. We are going to make this Guardian disappear so that we don't have to beat them by watching a replay. This will happen a few more times throughout the run. There is a required fight on this screen because we have not unlocked yet the Beastiepedia, which is basically like a compendium of all the data about beasties in the world. And we are never going to get it this run because it's slow. So anyway, here's 1,000 Views. This is a late game area. All of those beasties are level 45. Or not quite 45, but nearly there. And we'll be back for one of them later. Fruit Folks, who you saw a couple of there. But in the meantime, we have more things to do. And more levels to get, because if we tried to recruit a Fruit Folks now, we would probably have a pretty bad time because they could one-shot us with pretty much any move. So we're gonna do a whole bunch of grinding in just a moment after we watch this match between Valerie and Dominic, both of whom we will see at various points later. Dominic's going to be the last ranked coach we fight, but we are going to challenge him now and again leave for a while. But we have some money to gain by selling things we picked up on the off the floor, and then we're going to warp back over to this screen, which we went to the zip station near earlier, and start losing to Jack until we are level 26. As I mentioned earlier, we don't get diminishing returns from Jack, but we do get slight diminishing returns once our level gets a lot higher than their beasties. So you can see their team is currently level 21. So we're going to take that to 26 and then start losing to a bunch of high-level guardians in Domain Park in a moment, which will get us a lot more experience a lot faster. But the caveat is those have diminishing returns, and oh boy are the returns diminishing, so we are pretty much going to lose to all of them once, and after that it's not really worth it. And the reason why we want to get to 26 before like losing to them twice is because if we're lower level than the opponent, we gain significantly less experience, which is why we want to start on Jack here. During this grind, we are going to replace all of Ostracized moveset and none of Spreco's. Spreco has some moves we want, 2 of which we're going to be using to both shore up Ostracized HP and also recruit Fruit Books in about 15 minutes. The other of which is Careful Shot, which will be leaving Spreco for exactly 1 fight for the rest of this run. Ostracized, however, once we hit level 28, is going to be learning some damaging moves. Thump at 28 is going to be our main front row damage option for the rest of the game. Launch at 35 is going to be our back row damaging option, which also shifts us to the front, and we'll learn Shield at 32. I forgot to turn around there, so we lose a little bit of time having to wait for this offensive turn, but it's fine. This is the first of several high-level Guardians we're going to lose to. And you can immediately tell how much quicker we're gaining experience than we were against Jack. But again, the returns do diminish, so we're gonna head back to 1,000 Views real quick. This is why we got that warp point earlier. So now we can progress through this area, Domain Park, which has a whole bunch of overworld puzzles backward, meaning we don't have to really engage with any of them at all. Lucky, if you have any donations, now is a great time.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I want to take this time to remind everyone that we have opened the bid war for the mystery race. You missed it. This mystery race is coming up next, and it is going to be unhinged. It's going to be Sonic, but Sonic is going to control like a golf ball, and you can choose between Snulf, Snulf 0, Snulf 3, and Nulf. And right now, it could be any of those games. So exclamation point donate in chat. That will bring you to the link to donate. And if you want to know more about Little Warriors, this is the charity that we are supporting all weekend long, you can type exclamation point info in chat. Just thank you for tuning in, and thank you for all of your support. Thank you for being here. You are awesome. We love you, and we love this game.
I'm a little sad it can't be all of the Snulf games.
Right? I would love to see all of them.
That sounds like a great time.
It does.
I wonder how many silly golf games there are, and if we could have an entire marathon one day that's just like very silly golf games.
Oh my goodness, I would watch that. I would watch that so hard. Maybe Prevent-A-Thon 7 needs a golf block.
Golf block would be fun. There's a really fantastic game I found just randomly on itch one time called Golf. Which is golf, but it's boxing. So go check that out if you're bored and want to waste 5 minutes. It's very short. It's fantastic. I haven't figured out how to speedrun yet, or speedrun it yet, or otherwise I'd be submitting it everywhere.
That sounds amazing. So yeah, check out both and decide which Snulf it is you want to see. Just something for everyone here.
Yes. Anyway, we have a couple more fights to lose. You'll notice we are getting awfully close to level 36, which is where Ostracai is going to metamorph one final time into Castlete. Sprecco will metamorph shortly afterward, but they have some special metamorph conditions, so we'll get to that when we get to them. Just a couple more losses. We're going to lose twice to this Bendiva because it gets some of the best experience since it's the last one in the grind and we're the closest to its level. And then there will be one more fight, which we lose to hit 36 and get the metamorph. Again, failing to give up serve there. Oh well, we lose like 5 seconds or so just waiting for these volleys to happen. But we're gonna ideally be very short of, like just a little bit short of 36 here so that we get as much as possible out of the next fight, which we're gonna go back to this screen again, but there's still a fight here which we have not won and will not win, so we're gonna go jump on this rock in the background and hit the loading zone before the fight can trigger. We are very much... We have been several places already, which we are by no means supposed to be in 15 minutes. Anyway, here's our metamorph. Ostracai is going to metamorph into Castlete, and I'm going to take a drink of water. Okay, jumping on this fence real quick and just running across it because it's faster than loading a replay to skip that Guardian. Have a couple items to pick up here while we head off to get another warp point where a ranked coach is, which we're gonna, again, be back for later. Make sure I don't hit any of the wrong panels here or I will get sent back a very long way. And now just a couple screens until we reach the screen where we will eventually fight Elena. Just make sure I don't hit any encounters I don't need to. And now we're gonna go metamorph Sprecco. We don't need to heal here because despite the fact that Sprecco is down and will not be able to do anything, we don't need Sprecco to do anything because we can just one-shot Rhesus Beasties here. You see the mushroom colony up there. Spreccos have a special connection with them, and ours is going to metamorph into Illigus in a moment once we get past this Rowdy Beastie. And as per usual, we are able to just forfeit and well, we don't have to win that fight, even though you very much are supposed to. The reason why we skip those fights in particular, and why skipping them is so important, and I'm so glad we have a way to, is because for every rowdy beastie you defeat, things scale quite a bit, which we, as you would imagine, do not want. Anyway, I did not successfully get the map open before Iligus spawned and chased me there, but either way, we are going to warp over here, back to this campsite we got earlier and beat Gene. He has an item that we need, unfortunately. Okay, it is not too skibbled up front. They can click shield, and obviously we don't want to hit a shield because that means they can't go down. I suppose I can explain shield quite briefly. Basically, whenever you're tough, you take a quarter of the damage, and also if you're above 1 stamina, you cannot be knocked out by an attack, which is, as you can imagine, very useful. Anyway, we have some more low-level stuff to get done, but before that, we're going to give Castlete a whole bunch of steroids, also known as body tokens, to increase their body attack to the maximum so we can one-shot stuff against these high schoolers. Who are not going to offer us too much experience. We're going to get about 1 level out of them, but at the end of it, they're going to give us 3 exercise videos, making them entirely worthwhile, despite the fact that they are by no means required for progression of the game. 3 levels in a minute is quite good pace. For later in the game, at least. Obviously, we were getting a lot more than 3 levels in a minute when we were doing the grind. But as per usual with creature collectors, it takes more experience to level up the higher level you are, so just gotta make sure I don't hit the beasties which aren't gonna go down here, so we can make it worth our while. If you hear me clapping a lot, it's me clicking the skip cutscene button. I have them bound to the same key just so you can hear how much I press it, which is always more than I need to. Pressing it during matches like this doesn't actually do anything, but I have old habits that die hard. Alright, level 38, and we've beaten the high schoolers, so match through their dialogue real quick. And now we're gonna head off down south. Once again, going through this area sort of backwards means that there are a whole bunch of puzzles we don't have to do. There's a cave over to the left there, which we don't have to deal with. We just have to snipe that lever real quick, and then we are all the way down to the beach. Fortunately, did not jump soon enough to skip this guardian, but it's fine. I'm just going to grab 1 item over here. This is a Spa Salts, which is going to allow us to change Castlete's trait in a moment to one that helps us do even more damage. But in the meantime, let's press the C. Now that we have a boating license, we can operate this boat. And we're going to head down to Chartreuse and actually finally beat our first rank coach. 20 minutes in. It's going to get a lot faster, I promise. There are 8 of them. It's going to get a lot faster. Anyway, this is Gary. Gary has the potential to waste our time or the potential to not waste our time. They will always click Sting there. If it hits Castlete, it's a lot slower than if it hits Iligus because we will not be able to serve. But we got lucky there. So anyway, the reason why we had to beat Gene earlier is because we needed a letter that he gives us in order to get into this nightclub, where we are going to immediately splash water on our face and then go try and get the bouncer to let us into, like, the VIP spot. And he is going to let us in after we absolutely wipe the floor with his team, because as per usual, we are doing all of these setup fights early so that they don't scale much. Basically. Anyway, here's Sun Tzu. He's on the dance floor now. And we're gonna dance really hard. So, we are wiped, but there was an item that I sneakily picked up really early in the run called a smoothie, which actually refreshes a beastie from being wiped. And so we don't even need to go anywhere to heal. We can just use that item real quick. Doesn't require a warp or anything, and then go beat Sun Tzu, because as per usual with ranked coaches, we are going to one-shot his entire team. You'll note there's a 21 level difference here, which does make this fight pretty easy. But we will be beating a lot of the game with only 3 beasties, whereas the maximum you can have on your team is 5. So we're making up for some other things we're lacking. Anyway, that was a very easy ranked coach fight. We're now going to warp back out to the boathouse here and continue on our way down the sea to find the second mushroom colony, which is actually going to be the third one we visit because there's a roadblock in the way that we need to get past. And just to save some map movement, we actually do one of the other ones first in a bit. We have a little bit of a fetch quest to do here with regard to this giant beastie who is currently blocking off a large portion of the ocean as well as access to the mushroom colony on this island. There is a skip which we use in any percent that allows us to not have to do this fetch quest and saves like 45 seconds, but in all ranked coaches we do also need to get past them. Just grabbing that campsite there, and then we're going to chat with Walter here, who gets us the second quest item, and also we can buy a jersey patch from him, which is going to make Frufolk's stats a bit better when we recruit them in just a few minutes. We're now going to sail over to Beryl, which again is one of the earliest towns in the game, and we are going to it maybe at about the same time that a casual player would get there in their first playthrough if they went north first. Anyway. Here's our third quest item from Autumn here, and then we are going to activate the ranked coach who plays in this Beastieball center, being Riven. Warp out real quick, because we just have to go find her, and she's hiding at this bench over here working on some writing. But we're going to challenge her to a match and then not come back for 20 minutes, more or less. Anyway, second mushroom colony here is Bongus. You're going to see us use that replay trick that I showed off earlier once again to make this one disappear, because sometimes the respawns can be a little punishing after you forfeit matches. So we are going to simply not have to deal with any respawns by despawning the beastie. Anyway, back here, now that we have all our quest items, we can talk to Ziggy the Tort Anchor once more and get them to move. And interact with the third mushroom colony again, using a replay real quick, skipping through it, and there we go. We now warp out here, and we're going to head off to our second ranked coach, which is Marcy, and one we have to do very early because she scales a lot if you don't do her early, and her beasties have very good defensive stats. And she's going to use a special mode of Beastieball called Captain's Mode, where you have to knock out a specific beastie in order to get a point. Which, as you can imagine, if there's a second teammate supporting, can be very annoying with things like redirection, which I suppose I'll explain in a moment when we actually see it. Captain's Mode is a very fun format casually, which we are basically not going to engage with because, once again, we are going to be one-shotting everything. So this is the pirate show. It's very fun. Play this game casually, by the way, if I haven't said that already. It's so fantastic. Have a couple dialogue options we want to pick here so that we don't get additional dialogue choices, and I'm finding some treasure. I know where it is already. Technically, you're supposed to check the map to find out where it is, but since we know, we don't need to. Heading over here to the second treasure. This one is going to be a little more or less trivial of a fight, because we actually cannot knock out this Zyphosaur here because of its trait Bunker. So we are going to take 2 turns here. Despite the fact that we could knock out the Squimmage, if we did knock out the Squimmage, it would not award us a point because Squimmage is not the captain. Castle lead is pretty low, but we are going to get a full heal here, and even if we didn't get a full heal, we are going to one-shot all of Marcy's team, so it doesn't particularly matter. Alright, redirection. This Mudsley is going to use Mighty Yell, which makes it noisy and redirects all attacks to it, so we're going to hit it on the first point, and as you can see, it does not score us a point, but once we get it out of the way, we're able to one-shot the Tort Anchor as well, and win the fight. So, that is level 39. Lucky, if I recall, the Frufolk's name that was chosen is Cheese, is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to recruit Cheese now. So So we need to heal 5 times in order to meet Frufolk's recruit condition. Clear Field heals both of our beasties, so it is going to count for 4. Shield cast lead here just to make sure it doesn't go down. The 5th one will come from Refresh, which I'm going to click right here, and then hopefully knock out this Frufolk's. There we go. Okay. I need to make sure to click the recruit button and apply a jersey patch, which is going to make Frufolk's stats more consistent. There we go. And now we are going to head off to Begonia and find our 3rd ranked coach in a moment. But first we're going to stop by the gym. We are going to give Castle Elite all of the exercise videos we have so far. You'll note that's only 8. We're going to find one more later. But we don't have it yet, so we can't use it yet, obviously, and using it later obviously saves more experience. Anyway, giving Frufolk's as many cardio tokens as we can to max out its spirit attack, because in a moment we're going to deal with a fight which we cannot deal with by simply bashing through things with body moves. So we do need someone to help with that. Frufolk's is good at that and will also save our butt a couple times later in the run. We're going to heal real quick here before I forget. And we're off into the Solanum Wells, where we're going to have some more fun overworld puzzles. A fight here which is hard to skip, but forfeiting is faster than making it disappear if we don't get a bad respawn, which we don't on this particular one. Anyway, we have some walls to hit with balls, so let's do that real quick. If I was fast, I could have recaught that, but I unfortunately was not. I'm going to do a little bit of a skip here by running into this ball and kicking it into the wall, so I skip another wall and a guardian up there. These walls are illusions created by tiny bugs. This is important world lore. This one sometimes has a bad respawn, so we are going to just quickly open a replay real quick so that I don't risk losing time, even though it is a little bit slower. Anyway, here's Solanum Weld. We're going to put Frufolk's in the first slot, so it is serving, as here we are going to see some of those tiny bugs. And have to beat them in a match so that we can progress to the Beastieball Academy, which is just behind this wall. And that's going to be the 3rd ranked coach we fight in a moment. As you can see here, we have to free ball and serve because the opponent used Stinky, which means we're shook and can't attack properly. Slows down the fight, but there's nothing we can really do to avoid it besides maybe get lucky. I have not seen us get lucky before, but it's maybe a possibility. Either way. Real nice easy fight there. We get a phone call from Marlin here. There's plot happening, by the way. We skipped through most of it. Anyway, don't fall off here because there's an exercise video there. That's the last one we need. Here's the Sports King. He's awesome and we hate his guts. Anyway, getting ready for the next ranked coach match. I'm just going to edit Frufolk's moves while I'm thinking about it because that means I don't have to remember later. I am also going to do the same for Ilias. There we go. Anyway, whole bunch of one-shots here. As we make our way up this tower, defeating students of the Beastieball Academy so that we can challenge the headmaster, Callisto, who is the 3rd ranked coach out of 8 that we'll be fighting. We're doing them in a very unorthodox order for casual playthrough, but you know, this is a speedrun marathon. Why would we do what casuals do here? Callisto is a very high-ranked coach, which means that her levels start a lot higher, so we want to get her out of the way now before they scale even more, basically. That was, again, same thing that happened with Marcy, same thing that's going to happen with Elena right after we beat Callisto. But anyway, you might be saying, we're 30 minutes into the run, and yet we're only on our 3rd ranked coach. How are we getting this done in an hour? Well, we did a lot of setup earlier, and after the first few, we're actually going to knock out 3 of them in under a minute. But we have some end game to activate so that it doesn't scale before then. Anyway, once we hit rank 100 after Callisto and Elena, we'll be entering the Crown Series. You'll note here in a moment that every single one of those levels we've got on Castellate so far is important because we are going to deal 101 damage to this Conjar. I am always sad that we don't get to listen to more than about 10 seconds of the music for some of these fights. Anyway, cutscene there with Sports King and Barnes McBride. Gonna move Frufolks to the front here as they're gonna be able to one-shot some beasties in this upcoming fight, which Castellate actually cannot because of their super high body defense, but they also have super low spirit defense, so we're just gonna lead for this one fight, which also has the added bonus of getting it a little bit of experience, which is maybe useful or maybe not necessary at all. I'm not entirely sure. Just in order to get a couple KOs later. Frufolks has done its job now. So back to Castellate in the front for the next couple fights. This team doesn't scale, so it's always at level 10, which is always very funny. So you just get here and absolutely dunk on this kid who's just trying to be on his favorite streamer's live stream. Unfortunately, we're better at the game than him and make matchmaking much more luckily. So this is Elena. We're gonna one-shot a couple of her beasties here. And then this is not her actual ranked coach fight. This is her meme team. She's lovely. All of her beasties are named after like competitive Pokemon YouTubers. It's great. Every single team in this game has like a naming theme, and that's one of the more fun ones because it's just like, if you know about competitive Pokemon, you see those names and you're like, oh, I know those names. But I suppose that's a good time to mention Beastieball also has a very fantastic PvP scene, which I am very involved in. Highly recommend picking up this game, giving it a casual play, and if you enjoy it, hopping into the PvP scene because, oh my gosh, PvP in this game is exhilarating. Anyway. Once again, as speedrunners, we are being cursed with not being able to listen to very much good music. But that's Elena. And now with our platinum sponsor that we got, and I didn't even really talk about that from doing all of that mushroom research, and rank 100 from beating 4 ranked coaches. I don't need to heal right now. We are eligible to enter the Crown Series, so we're going to do that now. And activate the end game and do everything like leading up to the Crown Series, except for the Crown Series itself, because again, we do need to beat all the ranked coaches before we go there. Getting a warp point here, the last one of the run we'll need, and then warping back out. I don't even know if I paid attention to what relationship type we got between Castellate and Iligus. Alright, we have partners, so this fight is going to be slightly slower. Just one turn slower, but still that's a turn nonetheless, and I'm sad about it. Anyway, Reese is having a bit of a crisis. There's plot going on. This is sort of the crux of a lot of the plots that go on in the game, but we're skipping all the cutscenes because as much as we love Reese here, listening to him talk is unfortunately slow. Same thing for Riley, who we're going to talk to in a moment. All right, one more fight here. We have a fairly specific flowchart here. If you mess this up, it is slower. We're actually gonna use Illigus's traps here. I haven't even talked about why we use Illigus as a friend. But Illigus has an ability called Trapper and a move called Lay Trap, which allow us to set basically hazards on the opponent's side of the field that deal damage whenever something tags in. So you'll see those 99s pop up. We would not be able to get those if we were not dealing a little bit of extra damage upon these beasties tagging in. Anyway, so that's a bunch of the endgame stuff done. We are going to beat a few more ranked coaches now, starting with Riven, and these are all going to go very quickly. So, Lucky, if you have any donations, now's a great time.
An update about our mystery race bid war. Just a reminder for those of you who may have forgotten, or for those of you who have just joined chat, our next run is a mystery race.
Oh, I forgot to heal. We might be fine. We're probably fine.
Oh.
It's not going to mess up the experience at all, because Castle Elite is still a part of this point. It's just going to be slower.
Okay. You got this.
Yeah.
You're a pro.
Hopefully Furbolts will knock out. Sorry, go on.
No, yeah. Too much excitement here.
All right.
So our next run after this is the mystery run bid war, and it's Sonic.
Oh no, we lose.
Sonic is a golf ball. Oh no.
Unfortunate. Oh well. Well, we get a full heal after we exit that fight anyway. So I need to re-challenge Riven real quick. And continue.
Okay, so while you're doing that, so Sonic, but Sonic is a golf ball. So together you have Snulf. The choices are Snulf, which is Sonic 2, but it's golf. You have Snulf 0, which is Sonic 1, but golf. And Snulf 3 and Nulf, which is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but golf. Now right now, Snulf 3 and Nulf is in the lead, but this is still anyone's game. It could be any game, and now these people have not played this game before. We have someone who's played Sonic, we have someone who's played golf, but we don't have anyone who has played either of these two games. So we will see which skill set is going to be the most useful for playing this game. And which game? You decide. Today, your games committee.
I know what I'm doing with the rest of my afternoon. Watching Snulf.
Yep.
Alright, there we go. Riven fight successful. Couple more fights now. Do I need to heal here? I don't.
And Snulf 0 is now tied with Snulf 3. So now it's a real nail biter.
I'm torn because those are both such good titles.
Yeah, I don't think there's any losing here. Whatever gets picked is going to be awesome.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you said some of the runners have not played this game before, or is it just the couch?
The runners have not played this game, so that's the mystery race parts. They haven't played this, so we have someone who's played Sonic and knows how to play Sonic. We have someone who plays golf and knows how to play golf.
That is so fantastic.
Right?
Whoever came up with that idea, you are fantastic.
Yeah, like very creative, very fun. And on that note, we have $5 from Anonymous who says, I feel like Elena would want Snulf 0, so I'm donating for that.
As in the Beastieball coach, Elena?
Yeah, as in the Beastieball coach, Elena.
That's a hard question. She's a bit of a meme lord, so I wouldn't be surprised if she would go for the and Nulf just because it has and Nulf in it. Like, that's just in the title. It's the meme. Anyway, I have some moves to update on Illigus here. This is the one fight where we don't want Careful Shot, because we're fighting a Rowdy Beastie in a moment. Rowdy Beasties are perpetually noisy, and we have to calm them down by wiping them out. Thus meaning sideways moves are not helpful because they get redirected. We also need shield here so that Illigus doesn't take as much damage. My experience route is a little bit... I have a little bit more experience than I normally should at this point, but it shouldn't affect this flowchart at all. Hopefully. Anyway, oh, right, Illigus got stung. Okay, yeah, this happened at GD Queer last week as well, but I think we're gonna be fine. There were some AI tweaks recently in a patch which have changed some things. So I'm gonna have to pay attention real quick. I think it hasn't changed stuff too much. I think we just tag in Illigus here and then we're fine. Just means I am kept very much on my toes. Okay, Azalite gets hit here. Okay, there is no KO into Illigus, so we are going to move Illigus to the side. It was very close. Iligus was 1 away from being KO'd, but that is not KO'd. Thump here won't do enough damage, so we are just gonna click Breaker real quick. I could theoretically still probably use Careful Shot there, but anyway, now that Castellite is back up... Oh, right! Okay, well, we have some stuff. Lovely. So, I now need to do the Walk of Shame all the way back to the Zip Station so we can try that fight again. Because there's a blackout right now, and I can't use Fast Transit. Unfortunate. But to explain a bit of the mechanics that are going on in this fight, if you recall 40 or so minutes ago, I explained how being in the front row gives you a damage boost, but being in the back row gives you a defense boost. If you stack up your beasties, the one in the front row actually gets the same like defense bonus as the back row because they have a defender behind them, sort of backing them up. However, this isn't the most useful thing a lot of the time because it does mean you're leaving a lane open, but in the case of this fight in particular, we basically know that the AI is always going to go for KOs when it can. I forgot that it was not going to do that there, but we should be fine, I think. Let me make sure I haven't messed anything up too much. Well, there's no KO here, so I can tag Iligus back in and get a nice reset here. Right. So, Iligus is at 76. That's a much higher health than it was last time. So we should be fine. Castellite does go down to bring the heat. But not once we give the defense boost due to stacking them up. And once again, we can click shield here to make sure Castellite does not go down this time. Iligus isn't super low. Oh, we see some relationship drama finally. Hopefully that does not affect things in the Crown Series. That could be bad. Beasties form relationships in this game. They give different combo moves, but sometimes those relationships take a turn. And we don't want that because it can mean that our beasties can start messing each other up, which, as you can imagine, is not ideal when we have some of the most high-stakes fights of the run on the line. Relationship drama, thankfully from my understanding, is paused during the Crown Series, but we have one more ranked coach to beat, and that is Dominic, who is the hardest one in the run by a long shot. His beasties start at level 50 and do not scale unless you beat any of the other rowdy fights. So we are going to update Iligus's moves here and hope our flow trait works. This one's pretty sound usually, so we should be fine. We're going to launch into Bo here, who's going to shield so that they don't take damage. And then we're going to block. Blocking is an action you can only take while in the front row, but it gives you an easy receive if you receive a blocked attack, meaning we can attack again without volleying, set up 2 layers of traps, and deal just enough damage to this Super Arrow between the 32 damage of traps and 72 damage of thump there to knock it out in one shot, which, as you can imagine, is very useful when these beasties are the same level as us and trying to kill us. Okay. Ooh, we saw some good relationship drama there, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully that doesn't mess things up. It might actually mess things up. Because we were supposed to see a different switch in there. Okay. So, you are going to restore a bit of stamina. Alright, I have to calculate this one so we don't lose. We are off script because of the relationship drama, which again is random, unfortunately. I'm gonna tag Purplex in, and hopefully this will work. Serena is unfortunately gonna heal a bunch of HP there, so we're probably not gonna be able to knock them out here. Yeah, 67 now, which is not ideal. Okay. We are fully improvising while we wait for Castellite to hopefully come back up. So we could see Rocket will not get a KO, so we are going to see a spike. And blocking will save us. Okay. I want to see if I can win this. I don't know if this effort is going to be futile or not. We will find out. Serena's at 50. Oh, but Dominic can double block here, can't he? Yep, so we may see a double block here if I'm not mistaken. If the AI takes this into consideration, which they do. Okay, so we're gonna have to reset this one. Because we don't get the KO there, and we have too many wiped beasties to win this match. Alright, surely this time my beasties will not improve each other's stats, thus messing up how the AI reacts to us. This is a great demonstration. Okay, we lost defense. We're forfeiting that one. It goes to show just how, like, knife's edge Beastieball can be. Did I get any? Was there some drama there? I'm not sure there was, so we might be okay now. There's a chance that these two are becoming rivals. I don't think they are, because normally if they're becoming rivals, they'll start messing each other up and causing us to free ball, which is not ideal. So this is probably something they're just working through and remaining partners. We will see in a bit. Okay. Never mind, they might be becoming sweethearts, judging by that double power boost. Can I get the KO on Jordan here? If I can knock out Jordan with this attack, I can! Oh my word. Okay. So, that was some nice luck, actually. Obviously, you know, not ideal that we had to lose this many times to get through it, but hey, there's something to add to my endlessly long flowchart. In this very specific instance, we are getting stuck in the zip station there because I skipped a cutscene too quickly. But now we're ready to head on into the Crown Series. We have 4 more fights until the end of the game, and I need to not forget to buy healing items because that would be very bad. This is a gauntlet of some of the best coaches in the game. And they're all going to be very hard fights with very long flowcharts. First up is Marlin. So I am going to focus for a bit. We see Bluey, so I will be blocking the wire. Okay, we see Illu hit, so I'm going to click refresh, healing up Castlete and lay trap, setting up traps. And once again, not hitting into a wire because I think, okay, we see Goldie in. That one's not in the flowchart. Lovely. Okay, we'll probably see Pearl here if I had to guess. Definitely seeing an attack from the wire, so we'll block them. And it goes into Illigus again, which is a little unfortunate. As it does mean Illigus is low, but that just means Castlete is remaining on high HP, and we have all of our traps up, so we will actually get a KO on Ruby here. Oh, and the fight became faster because of it. Okay. We take those, I guess. Okay, that's Marlin. But yeah, all of these fights are very knife's edge. Obviously, if any of our beasties go down, especially Castlete, stuff can immediately just entirely fall apart and we have to restart. Anyway, here's Barnes. Barnes can do a number of things on the first turn. We are probably expecting this to happen, and the attack goes into Illigus. It doesn't really matter who, because the flowchart is the same for this particular iteration of the fight either way, except I don't have my combo move up because I used it on Dominic, so I need to actually improvise a bit more. Let's see. All right. So Lewis comes in, is going to click probably challenge into Castlete, so I'm going to shield and hope that I am correct. Cool. All right. We see a switch here almost certainly. Almost certainly, because we can't knock out Lewis. So I can put them on 1 HP, which is actually a fantastic number to have Lewis on. Because that means it's not actually able to shield anymore, which is, as you can imagine, very useful. Move to the back row here, and we should just win this fight now, I thought. I'm correct. Yep. All right, nice. All right, we have 2 traps up, so I will deal enough damage to Danny if they switch in. Important thing to check. And we're good to go. There we are, that's Barnes. All right, last up is Jean. We are going to swap Castellite's moves for the first time in ages here, giving them Vigor Beam, which is just going to be a little more damage if Castellite remains at high stamina, which they will for this fight, simply because the AI is going to see a lot more damage into Ilias on every single turn. And that means Vigor Beam is very effective here when we can continually click refresh, and refresh, if I didn't explain yet, is a volley which keeps Castellite's health up, which is incredibly useful, you might determine, when you lose 10 stamina every single time you attack. All right. If I give Castellite a boost here, do I knock out Phantom? That might speed me up slightly. I do. Fun. There we go. Using the combo moves because they are just that cool. Anyway, so that's Jean. We, of course, have one more fight. Jean is the rank 2 coach. We need to go fight the rank 1 coach, except we don't need to win, so I'm not going to win. Frufolk's last moment of heroism is coming in here and taking a very hard hit on turn 1, hopefully. So we move them to the front here to take more damage. Hopefully they're just going to fall over right away, which is going to save us a whole lot of time in this fight, which otherwise would be very long and difficult if we had to win. So there we go. We have about a minute left while we throw the rest of the points and answer some phone calls and skip cutscenes while all the friends we made along the way and the coaches we beat show up and complain about how much the league sucks. There's a lot of plot going on. We are skipping through all of it. You can hear my incessant clapping. We have a lot of
Is now a
points.
good time?
Is now a good time for donations? If we have one yet, then yeah, go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. We have $5 from Anonymous, who says, but what a 3-way tie for Maximum Chaos? So yes, now Maximum Chaos has been reached because our bid war is now evenly tied all the way across. We have no idea what's going to be played in just a few minutes.
Very exciting. Well, I have news for the producer. That is time.
Okay, so you have even less time.
You have even less time.
Thought you did. Yeah, even less time. So like right now, you got to get those donations in because we got a mystery race coming right up. In other news, Hallow, amazing job. This was so fun to watch. Where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch at Hallow. Very easy, no bells and whistles to the username. You can also follow me on Bluesky to keep up with my personal ramblings as well as yelling about this game far too often because I really love this game to death. You can find Beastieball in early access on the Steam store. Go play it. If you want to wait until full release, I won't blame you, but the story is complete, as you can see, as we've hit credits. And this is... I'm never sure whether it's my favorite game of all time or if my favorite game of all time is Chicory, which is the prior game by the same devs, and I am wearing the shirt today. But this game is fantastic. Go play it. I'll sign off with that.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. That was so much fun to watch. For those of you who are just joining us, we have a bid war going on right now for a game that is being run in just a couple of minutes. So this mystery race is even more mysterious than previously thought. ! Donate in the chat to vote for the next game being run. Like the very next game, not even kidding. Y'all know Sonic the Hedgehog? This is Sonic, but it's not because Sonic controls like a golf ball for Snulf. that you can choose between Snulf, Snulf 0, Snulf 3, and Nulf. Now, Snulf is Sonic 2, but golf. Snulf 0 is Sonic 1, but golf, because that makes sense. Snulf 3 and Nulf is Sonic 3 and Knuckles.